Hey guys, cheers! So my name is Jess and welcome to my space. Now I really wanted this to be pretty much just an open feel, an open invitation, almost like we're having coffee together, and that's really the vibe that I love to be able to give, is that you can feel welcome at any point in time. So anyways, those of you who don't know me, this actually terrifies me a little bit because I freeze up when it's a video. I normally can just be out in front of people and just share, but this is something that I feel pressed on my heart to start doing more of and sharing more with you. I want to get to know you and you to get to know me. And yeah, so my name is Jess. I'm most passionate about inspiring, equipping, and empowering people to be the fullness of who they are. You know, we are all here on purpose, with a purpose, and to be able to live it out healthy and whole. So I've been challenged by friends and mentors to share a little bit more of my story. And honestly, that freaks me out because those thoughts come in my mind of, well, what are people going to think? Are they going to think that, oh, Jess wants all eyes on her, or oh, Jess is just tooting her own horn, or whatever those are. And the more that I resist it, the more that I've been feeling in my heart just really challenged to start sharing more. And I've also been, you know, like I said, my mentors have been just like, Jess, go for it. Start sharing more of the Jess story. And honestly, I do believe that it will actually maybe challenge some of you guys and maybe get you in a place of seeing that things are possible for you, because there were so many times in my life where I didn't think things were possible for me. But it did take other people to speak out the best of me and encourage me to move in those directions. And honestly, that's why I'm here today. So I grew up, my mom is from Spain, from a tiny, tiny village. She left her village when she was 19 to go to England to learn English. And at that time, I mean, nobody did that. They didn't even have cell phones. They didn't have ways of communicating. And she just took that risk. She knew that she felt deep in her heart to do that. And my dad, he's from Seattle, one of 9 kids, and he was one of the very few to be able to actually go out and get a degree, and he's gotten multiple. He's a chemical and environmental engineer. He was traveling around the country leading different groups in different things like mountaineering, or in, you know, doing tours around with boats all over the place. And he would travel to one place, figure out, make some income, and go to the next place, and vice versa. And so both of my parents, just both risk takers. They met in New York and doing some local mission work, and they ended up getting married. And I share this because I would not be who I am today without them, neither would my siblings. And there was a season where, it's a long story, and I'm going to link my dad actually wrote an article about his story, and it's so powerful. Basically, it's all about hope and belief and trust. And he went through a season where he was on a boat and on one of his jobs, and a huge wave came up and he went crashing down on his back. And basically from there, all doctors said he would never walk again, that he'd be paralyzed for the rest of his life. And that is the time where my dad went through the worst time of his life. My mom too, because she was not planning on marrying a crippled man. And at this point, my dad was. But through both of their faith, through both of their hope and their determination and belief, my dad moved to Japan and for a couple of years had to go through this healing process from this specific doctor, and had to get that in his space and his mind that he could get through. And very diligent for a couple years. And basically now, I mean, he's out climbing mountains now. He's had 4 kids. Him and my mom have 4 kids, and we're out living our lives. And it's because of that testimony that I truly, truly believe that the work that, you know, we all have something in us that's like, man, sometimes we don't feel like we can keep going. Sometimes we lose hope. Sometimes we lose faith, or we lose trust in our life, or in ourselves, or in the purpose around us. And so by the grace of God, he's been able to be healed. And my parents, you know, the life that they live now is so beautiful. So I just wanted to share that because I would not be who I am today without them. Neither would my siblings. So here we are. So growing up, I was that fun, spontaneous girl, always full of joy and laughter. And I would get all of my friends to put on performances. I mean, we'd do dances. I'd choreograph, dances for our families, for our whole neighborhood. And I loved singing and bringing everybody together. And we had like a cul-de-sac of kids, and we had a club. And so I was kind of like the ringleader of the club. And it was a blast. And moving on from there, I remember in elementary school, I always tried to figure out what the kids wanted. I mean, for example, I would get our cul-de-sac kids to make brownies and lemonade, and we'd sell it on the side of the road. We're like, ooh, this is what they want, let's sell it. And then I'd find out the kids at recess wanted those geckos. Remember those beaded geckos? Maybe some of you guys do. But those beaded geckos, I would make those and sell them at recess. So whatever it was, there was something in me that was always creative to be like, ooh, what do people want? I want to give them that, and I can make an income off of that. And I think a lot of that came from my parents. They're both entrepreneurial spirits. They've had different businesses, nonprofits, different projects for their whole life. And somehow that passed on to me. So I remember also my mom had a Montessori school, and so really young started working while it was in our own house, and so that taught me about work ethic even when I was like 7. And I remember specifically when I was 7 years old, my dad gave me these cassette tapes by John Hopkins, and it was like making your dreams come true or something. So I would listen to these cassette tapes and I would write down all of my dreams. And I do remember a couple of them. A couple of them were that I wanted to be a professional ice skater. I loved Tara Lipinski and what was the Asian girl's name? I can't remember right now, but I loved those girls. And I wanted to be a professional singer. I wanted to be a performer and sing. And fun fact, random, but I sang with Celine Dion at one of her concerts at the Key Arena. I think it was like 1998 or something. So super small, but that was something, for me, where I realized like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to be like Celine Dion. And I remembered those were things I wanted to do, as well as I wanted to travel the world and I wanted to help people. And I think that's because going back and forth from Spain while I'd visit family and come back home, I just saw this thing of people thought that Americans were so entitled, like, oh, we're the best culture in the world. And I was like, no, there's other places too. And I remember that being ingrained in me at like 7. So moving forward into high school, I was very involved in the community. I got on the worship team at church. I was leading small groups, started leading Young Life, and once and played all the sports, volleyball, basketball, track, all those things. And then I remember after high school, I always loved beauty and wellness. So I ended up deciding to go to beauty school. And I was working at Ballet Total Fitness at the same exact time. So I'd go to beauty school 11 hours a day, and then I would wake up at 4 in the morning and open up the gym. And at the gym, I was the one that was like exercising at the front desk and getting people pumped and excited. And then I'd go and do people's hair and make them feel good on the inside and out. And so there was always this thing of me of like the whole person, beauty and wellness on the inside and out. And I went to this salon. It was one of the most incredible salons in the Seattle area, in Federal Way actually. So, a lot of people think that that's the ghetto. But in this place, some of the top hairdressers, world-renowned platform artists in the world worked there. And I actually thought I was going to move to Spain, but realized, what if I stayed here and I worked with them? I mean, they're some of the top in the world and I can go anywhere from here, and it would be an honor to learn from them. So I did. I started assisting one of my mentors, Marv Smith, and Rick and RJ and Helen, Patty, all these amazing people, part of this team, and got to learn and grow from them so much that from that experience, I remember Marv coming and telling me one time, I was in the back room and I was kind of that like really sweet girl, you know. I was like new in the hair industry. It was kind of intense. It was like a lot of like, woo, crazy party people. And I remember going in the back room one time after doing someone's hair, and he came back and he shared something really important with me and just empowered me and said how amazing I was and how he could have never done anything better, you know, better than what I had done. I don't remember what I did, but I remember what he said and how he made me feel. And it made me feel like, wow, this guy who has been training so many people for years and years and who knows everything and who is like one of the most generous people I know, he's saying this about me? Are you serious? So that was the first time, besides my parents, you know, being so amazing, first time that I really believed in myself in like a crazy way. And I was like, I want to be like him. I want to be like somebody that brings out the absolute best in others, because sometimes we don't believe in ourselves and it takes someone else to bring it out of us. So from there, I remember I wanted to move to California. I moved to LA. I was also teaching fitness, and so I went out there, started my own teaching boot camps on the beach, and I ended up working in an incredible salon, Luxe Lab in Santa Monica. And I remember it was only a year I was in LA, but I remember it being one of the hardest seasons of my life. Hard. Oh crap. Just got stuff all over me. That's okay. Anyways, I remember it being the most stressful time of my life. I've always had everything, you know, together. Everything always worked out for me. And I remember there was a season where I thought I was going to be homeless. Nothing was working out in ways that I, you know, had desired. And once I was finally in a rhythm of work and all this, my community and all this stuff, I had the craziest body feelings. My mind was just going blank. I was so fatigued all the time and tired, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I would faint sometimes, super forgetful. I ate a lot. I exercised a lot. I, you know, was super healthy, so I thought. So basically, this got me to a place of realizing that I was so stressed, that mentally, physically, emotionally, in all of those areas, I was stressed and I needed to make a change. And so while I was doing that, I started meditating. I locked myself in my room for like 5 days and reading and praying and getting clear on what this was in my heart that I needed to change. And in that moment, I had drawn out this whole like vision basically of where I saw my life. And they didn't make sense at the time. It was all these puzzle pieces. But I do remember all of a sudden knowing, and I called my dad. I said, Dad, I think I'm supposed to backpack the world or something. And I remember, and he's like, okay, that sounds great. Well, you're going to have to maybe go with a group. You know, you want to be wise with this. And at the time, I was just like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I think I'm going to go to one country and work with an organization and take my backpack and tent I didn't think about a tent at this time. And then I'll go to another, you know, country and work with another organization and then another one. So I'm making this all up in my head. And then I remember talking with one of my good friends, Jessica, and she told me that everything I was talking about sounded like what's called the world race. And so I looked it up. Right then and there, I knew I needed to do that. It was 11 months, 11 countries, take a backpack and tent, give your life away and go serve those in need. I was like, really? Oh my gosh, okay. Like that's literally what I've been dreaming about. And so, yeah, I did it. And while I did that, I moved back home to fundraise $17,000 in a few months. And during that time, I went to the doctor to find out what was going on with me. Basically, she told me that due to stress, I started losing weight. I lost all the estrogen in my body. I was depleted of nutrients, and I was completely fatigued and stressed. So what I needed to do was change my lifestyle. And at that time, I didn't want to do that because I found my identity in what I could do, and I had to strip that. She said I had to start doing yoga, I had to start meditating, I had to start eating different foods and put fat on me, and I did not want to. But she said, Jess, you want to live? I was like, it can't be that serious. She's like, Jess, you got to change your lifestyle, like now. And I was like, oh man, okay. So I was determined, because I knew I was going to be doing mission work for the next year. And if I was not well, how could I help anybody else? So I was, for 3 months, so determined, felt, so much better. I wouldn't say 100% by any means. It's been a journey ever since. But I felt so much better and went out on this trip. And basically a whole year helping build orphanages, teaching English, working with human trafficking, all these things. And there were a few things that changed my life while I was out there. One, I found this need where the missionaries, those that were on the ground, were being really unhealthy. They were eating certain foods that were making them tired. They weren't exercising for that year. They came up with all these excuses, and they were just talking about almost like self-sabotaging things. And I was like, that's not okay. We're out here to serve. And if we're not well, like, how are we going to serve all these people around the globe? Are you kidding me? So ended up starting what's called the Healthy Living Track. And so it just kind of organically happened, but I ended up training up, finding a leader in each one of our groups and keeping in touch with them to encourage them to keep their teams healthy. And so I researched every country we'd go to, what types of food they had, showed people how to do exercise, like even if you live in a slum, what you can do, how to be healthy and whole, and really started studying the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual side of each one of us, and that we are a whole being. So that's where my real wholeness journey began. And then there was another time where a woman who, we were working in a small village in Thailand and working with human trafficking. This woman, her, just run down, exhausted, and I knew I wanted to do something for her. And I didn't know what, but I had my cutting shears with me because I was a hairdresser. And so at the time I asked her, kind of showed my shears and just said, you want me to give you a haircut? And she nodded her head yes. So I gave her a haircut over by the shack, and in 15 minutes her whole life transformed in my fingertips. And in that moment I was like, wow, this is a tool that can be used to transform lives. And then I had another friend who, in Thailand as well, and I met her out there, she was teaching yoga to girls in the sex for sale industry. So they were still working in the bars, and she was teaching yoga to them in the parks, and they were just feeling this like inner change and peace and beauty, and on the outside they were feeling good about themselves, and they wondered why they were feeling so different. And so she got to share with them how amazing that they were, and they were created in God's image. They were, healthy and whole, that they don't have to stay in this place, that their body and their mind and every piece of them is worthy. And I thought, oh my gosh, what if I did that? So basically from all of this, the biggest thing that I realized in going home is that every person has a skill, every person has a talent, everybody has a gift to offer the world. We all have a purpose to serve. And I started seeing everybody so uniquely in such an amazing way. And I wanted to bring that out of everybody. I was like, I don't think they realize that they're amazing and they're amazing. And I went home and started having these like ideas and visions coming to mind. And so I called a friend and said, hey, I have this vision and I think you're supposed to be a part of it. So we created a nonprofit where we provided haircuts and beauty services to those in need. And man, we were able to transform thousands of lives. I didn't have any resources. I just came back from doing missions. I wasn't making any money. I was working at Starbucks for, a little while to kind of keep me going, and started, doing some personal training for people one-on-one and teaching yoga classes, just doing different things. And I started a yoga program at a fitness studio, and just doing different things like that, where it was like, okay, I don't know, I just gotta, figure it out. But I think there's something beautiful about being able to use your skills and figure it out. And we're not always going to have everything that we need in order, but we can always find a way. So that's what I was doing at the time. And when setting up the nonprofit, I didn't know how to do that. I mean, I love to research. My dad, basically, he helped me to learn to figure anything out. So that's what we did. I mean, spent so much time and energy to build this thing, and met with mentors, built a board, did all those things, and really learned so much. And what I found during that season is how much I love to build people up. So got to build teams of people and empower them to create their own projects, empower them to see that they are this unique person that transforms people's lives, and really learning how to build that type of a culture and an environment where people know that they have something to offer. So that was my favorite thing about this organization that we had. It was a couple years in while I was building this other organization, the Beyond Project, and then went into what's called the Wholeness Journey, and essentially use art and storytelling and wellness and yoga and beauty, and we use all those things to bring out the best in these women that have been affected by trauma or trafficking or hard circumstances or abuse, and work with the organizations that are on the ground in these other countries that are already empowering them, and we just come beside them and kind of do that restorative, more like identity building process, because if they don't really know who they are, then it's going to be hard for them to go back out. Even if they have a job or whatever it is that they have, it's going to be hard for them to be able to be sustaining if they don't know that they're valuable and worth it. And as we were building this, and there was all this tension and stuff going on, me feeling I needed to pass off my last project. And during that time, honestly, there was a lot of things that for me, I was learning that I thought that I had to always be the rock for everything. I thought that I could hold everything up. I thought that in my own strength that, I was this strong, capable woman of everything. And in reality, that came to kick me in the butt, because that's not true at all. And so as it was so hard doing this this last project, that I ended up having to take 2 months. I felt when I prayed, I felt that God was saying, you're going to take 2 months and you're going to go on a sabbatical, and you are going to get clear here. You got to get out of the process to get clear. And honestly, that was the hardest season of my life. And I thought it was maybe gonna just teach me so much, about how to come back into this organization and build it up in a healthy way. And basically what I knew deep in my heart was that, no, you're gonna pass it off. I was like, what? That's crazy. This is my dream, this is my dream. And this is something that I've been working on for 4 years, and no. And I remember hearing clearly, it was, Jess, this is not your dream, this is my dream. And that was, to me, I believe in God, and so that was a clear message, hey, it's bigger than you, and just remember, I put that in you so you could start it, because I knew that you would, but it's okay if you pass that off. And honestly, during that time, I had so many fears and doubts. I was thinking, oh man, what are people going to think of me? Because are they going to think I just don't like people anymore? Are they going to think that I gave up? Are they going to think that, I'm a failure? Are they going to think, what are they going to think? And the driver in me, the one that always figures it out, didn't have anything left to give. And I was emotionally exhausted and physically exhausted and mentally exhausted. And so a lot of the behind the scenes stuff was just not healthy at all, and knew that in order for it to go and function properly, it had to be the case to be healthy and whole and work together in a good way. I knew I had to pass that off, which was so humbling, but the best thing I've ever done. And the next season, honestly, was just a place of figuring it out and being. It was man, I don't know what's next now. I thought that that's where I was headed. And yes, I have the wholeness journey and we're doing that, but man, that's what I was working on, building that and combining it all together. And so it was a long process of healing. It was a long process of getting wisdom. It was a long process of getting my identity back, my mind, my emotions, my physical body, every piece of me. And I was still doing hair. I was working at an aerospace company doing I was their private hairdresser for the CEO and all the employees, and that was amazing. and I was working at the hair salon I'd been at for a few years, and I loved it. I loved all of it, but I knew that that's not everything I was going to be doing. So I remember also meditating, being like, okay, what do I focus on next? And then I remember getting this thought in my head of leaders. I was like, whoa, leaders. Okay, what does that mean? So after that, I felt in my heart that I was supposed to do a retreat. And this was going to be specific to women leaders who, you know, they're dominating at life, whatever that is. They're leading in whatever area of life. But you're going to come in, you're going to train them, and it's going to be this place of refreshment and refueling where we're going to have good food, we're going to do workshops, we're going to do yoga, we're going to go hiking, we're going to have fun, we're going to be real and honest with each other and build up some things and take away things that they can go home with to be able to go and serve their people more strong. Yeah, I took some time and built that, and we did that first one, and it was so powerful. And during that time, I also was writing a book, and it was called Lead Your Whole Life. And it started off as a blog, honestly. It was just a bunch of things, you know, combined from the learnings that I'd done, kind of how I talked about the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and how all of that, if you're not well, then you cannot affect your community, you cannot affect your career, your finances, the way that you contribute to those around you in the world well. And so I wanted people to know how to do that. And I said, you know, this would be great to be able to put out. So I was writing a book at the time and wanted to make sure I got my first draft done before that retreat. And anyways, I did. And, you know, even for the retreat, I didn't know how to. I've done a couple, you know, global retreats before, but I never put one together by myself. And so called some people up and asked if they wanted to be a part of the vision, and they said yes. So put it on, and it was absolutely amazing. And I also knew that it was the direction I was supposed to go, was doing all of this. And during that time, a year prior to that, I was actually in the middle of getting my coaching certification. It's called the Integrative Wellness Academy. And so it's the integration between the holistic approach, the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, every single piece of you to go out and do whatever it is that you're created to do on this planet in an integrative, healthy, whole way. So that's like totally my vibe and why I got certified in that, because I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, you got to be well everywhere in order to go out. So I was finishing up that certification during this time, and then I decided that, you know what, I am going to end everything I was doing, hair and all of that, and I'm going to go full force into this wellness and life coaching space, because I knew that there are so many people that have dreams, they have so many desires, they have so many things in them that they want to do and accomplish, but they don't know where to start, or they don't know how, or maybe they're too exhausted, don't have the energy in order to do it, and maybe they just like have all the fears and doubts that just stop them. I was like, I want to do that. You know, I've been doing that for years and helping people either build projects or helping people break past their fears and believe in themselves. And I was doing that for so long for free that I was like, I want to make a living off of that. I want to impact more people's lives in this kind of way. That's what I care about most, is watching people come fully alive in who they are. So with a lot of prayer and time and mentorship, I quit my last season of doing hair and all of that and went full force in this direction. And I ended up going to overseas to Thailand last year, or a few months ago, I guess. And the organization that we work with for Wholeness Journey, the team is so incredible. The team that works with these, they work with human trafficking, and they have a beauty school out there that supports them in, you know, their hair skills and in business skills and life skills and devotions, and it's incredible. And because I knew the work that they were doing, and I knew that the team, you know, really needed some uplifting personally and internally, and then I ended up going out there and realizing, you know what, if I can work with this team, kind of coach them along individually and collectively, and they learn to be well in themselves, and as a team to also integrate all of that, then there's going to be more sustainability for them to be able to empower more people's lives. And that was the most powerful experience. Oh my gosh. I I remember getting there, and it was probably a couple days after I got there, and I started having all these thoughts though, and it was just, you are not equipped for this. Just, who do you think you are to come out here and coach this team? Just all this stuff. And it debilitated me for a couple of days. I just felt like all this, tension and anxiety. And the good news is I do know practices to get out of that, thank goodness. But I had to call some mentors. I had to remind myself mentally. I had to get back to who I am, so that way that would not stop me. And it was powerful. We did one-on-one work, we did teamwork, we did exercise, we did nutrition, we did the whole shebang. And after that, it really got me realizing even more that that's what I love. I love being able to work with individuals and with teams, to be able to really help cultivate that space of being the best version of yourself, so then that way you can go and pour out more fully. Anyways, after I came home, it was down to the wire of like, okay, you got to build this thing out. This is what you want to do. You want to one-on-one coaching, group coaching, retreats, these wholeness journey experiences, workshops, speaking, these type of things is like how you want to empower more people's lives, building community. And I moved to LA actually in June, and it was because I knew a year ago I was supposed to be here. I just didn't know the time, and everything kind of fell into place. So now I live in sunny Southern California. I love it. If you're out here, let me know. I'd love to meet you. So now what's going on is basically that's what I'm doing, is working with people who, maybe they're joy filled and they're fun, or they're driven, and they are maybe working on something specific, or they have a team, or they're just now in this space in life where they have been successful in some places but really feel that they need a shift. They might need maybe they don't know what that shift is, but they need some sort of shift to be able to live more intentionally and more purposefully, and be able to have the lifestyle that they really desire. And that's where it comes in with the one-on-one coaching, the group stuff. I have a group coaching evolved around Lead Your Whole Life book now that's been so powerful, that we've been doing on Zoom calls and in person. And so right now is really the building stages of all of that, of building a community of people living out their purpose, whatever that is, in a healthy and whole way. And so I would love to invite you to be a part of it. If you do want to be a part of anything on one-on-one, I would love to work with you. If you want to be a part of one of our group coaching programs based around this book, and going from dreaming to doing, because the thing is, we all have something in us, and maybe we're afraid to actually take action on it. And that's what I'm finding in most people is, hey, I have this thing I really want, or maybe it's your health, maybe it's something in your family, maybe who knows what it is, but you want to work on it, but there's things that are holding you back. I would say right now is the perfect time, because there's never going to be a perfect time. So right now, once you realize what that thing is, then you can actually go for it. And I would love to help you in that. If you want to be a part of a retreat, a leaders retreat where it's going to rejuvenate and empower you, so then you can keep catapulting forward as you're being driven and leading other people, whatever that looks like. I would love for you to come, and please let me know if you want to come, or if you want to come on a wholeness journey experience. It is a faith-based Christian experience where we go out and we love on people. Like I said, it's a yoga retreat and a mission trip, and so we connect our body, mind, our spirit. We go out there and empower people, allow them to see that they're worth it and live into their purpose. And guess what? You come home with some action steps on what that looks like for you back home, and how you can actually take action in your own community and what you care about. So that's kind of the general of the story. And I'm going to be sharing some more just as time goes, sort of like some behind the scenes, not everything's been easy. This stuff has been hard, because building something that really matters, it's bigger than you, is not easy at all. And so if you want to be a part of it in any kind of way, I want to invite you that you are welcome. If you have any kind of skill, or you have something that you want to offer, you want to give, or you want to be part of, you want to join in, you want to join one of these programs, or you want to now figure out what you can go out and do in the world. You want to start a business, a nonprofit, a project, who knows? But I want to invite you. And yeah, it's possible. So thank you guys so much. So much. I haven't even had a sip of my coffee, but I'm going to now. It's good. It's good. I put some Organifi Gold in here and turmeric reishi. It is incredible. Keep updated because I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about this, but I blended it with the coffee and a little bit of coconut oil and some almond milk, and it was the bomb. If you want some inflammation reduction, and it actually helps with anti-cancer, and we don't want cancer these days. Nobody does. So anyways, cheers to you guys. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk soon. Okay, bye.